Welcome to the Homemade Mother. My name is Jasmine and this is my channel. Welcome back. It's another round of trial and error. For this one, we are doing a pizza mix recipe, which I told you I would do from last week. I've loved pizza since I was really little. However, since becoming gluten-free, I have rarely enjoyed a slice of it. That's just because every time I go to try pizza crust, it just ends up being dry or foamy or weird texture or flavor. Anyways, basically, I have not had good luck with pizza crust. For today's mix, we are doing another Duinkerken. I'm ready if you are. Let's try this thing out. So for this mix, you will need this mix: 2.5 teaspoons of yeast, 2 eggs, a cup of water, and 2 tablespoons of oil. Sounds simple enough. Let's give it a whirl. All right, so after adding the mix into my mixer, it says to add the yeast and mix it all together. Then it says to pour in our warm water, not hot, not cold, but warm. All right, that was a cup of water, 2.5 teaspoons of yeast. Now we're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of oil, and then of course, 2 eggs. Whew, that egg just like shot everywhere. Ginger snaps all over my fingers now. All right, and our second egg. We've mixed all our ingredients together. It says to let the dough rise for 5 minutes, so we're gonna do that. All right, so we let our dough rise, although I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really see it rise. I'm not surprised. I rarely ever see pizza dough crust rise. So the next thing it says to do is to basically push the dough into our pan. I don't have a super nice pan right now. This is what I've got, so this is what we're working with. But I am gonna add a little bit of avocado oil to the bottom of my pan before I throw the dough on, because I really don't want this to stick. Now, this dough is a similar consistency to when I made the biscuit mix from Duinkerken, and what I found is it's really, really sticky, but if you add a bit of flour, it tends to turn out a little bit better. So I'm just flouring it up, and although it does say to use your hands, I like to use my rolling pin to kind of roll it out a little bit. And once again, it's sticking, so we're just gonna add a little bit of flour. I'm just using Robin Hood's gluten-free flour blend. Now, if my pizza pan was a little bit more flat, I feel like rolling this out would be a lot easier, but you make do with what you got. So here we are, making do. That worked pretty well. It rolled out fairly nicely. One thing I have to say is I love my marble rolling pin. It is one of the best things I have ever owned when it comes to baking. It makes rolling things out so much easier. The reason I love it so much is because of how heavy it is. You don't have to add as much force yourself. Like, I remember using my mom's old wood rolling pin, and I would have to stand on a stool and push all my weight just to get the dough to do what I want. But with a marble rolling pin, you don't need to do that. Because it's heavy, it actually pushes it all down for you, and you don't have to use as much effort. This one we got off of Amazon, and I'm absolutely in love. I will link it down below because it is my favorite rolling pin. So what it says to do next is to put all our toppings on. I'm gonna put all of the toppings that my husband and I wanna have on our pizza, and then I will throw this in the oven and we'll see how it turns out. I feel like it'll be pretty good, but you just never know. So I will be throwing this into the oven after I put all my toppings and my sauce and all of that on at 425 for 15 minutes. Hopefully it turns out. All right, guys, the pizza is cooked. I put all my toppings on, everything that I could have possibly wanted on my pizza. And if you're wondering, this is good crust. I mean, like, I haven't tried it yet, but it actually poofed and it seems solid. If you're wondering what cheese is on my pizza, because I'm dairy free, it's BioLife cheese. It's not real cheese, but it actually tastes really good. Out of all of the cheeses I have tried over the years, this one is definitely my favorite. So back to our pizza. We're just gonna have to jump in and see if it tastes good. Okay, it's not bad. For ease of this recipe, I would give it a 6 out of 10. six because I had to add yeast, and I'm pretty sure most people don't have yeast in their house. I can just see myself forgetting that I need yeast for this recipe, buying it, and then not having yeast. So the fact that I had to add that was a little bit inconvenient. As far as ingredients I had to add in, I would also give it a 6 out of 10 because I had to add in the yeast. It makes it a little bit less simple. For me, if it was just the eggs and the oil and some water, that would have been super easy. No problem. I always have those things on hand. And as far as ingredients that were in this box, once again, corn is the top ingredient. I understand that it's probably fairly cheap and a good way to bulk up your mix, but I don't love the fact that corn is number one. So because of that, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. Wouldn't eat this all the time, but from time to time, maybe. Now, as far as texture goes, I would give this a 9 out of 10. It's a really solid texture. Like, just looking at the crust, it's what I want in a pizza crust. It's exactly how it should look. It's nice and fluffy. I might be a little biased. It's pretty darn close. And the actual texture in my mouth was very desirable. It's definitely close to what I want. It is obviously not the same as having an actual pizza crust, because nothing is like pizza crust. And as far as taste goes, I would give it a 9 out of 10 as well, because the taste is actually pretty good. There isn't any like lingering flavors. There's no weird aftertaste. There's nothing very distinct about it, which is kind of a good thing when it comes to pizza crust, because you really want your toppings to do the talking and not as much your crust. But you want your crust to have some sort of body to it, which I think it has. So I would give it a 9 out of 10. Now overall, I would probably give this a 7 out of 10. I think for the most part, it's a good mix. It works well, it turns out. However, there are some issues that I have with it, like the instructions could have been a little bit more clear. Also, the yeast makes it a little bit more inconvenient. And the fact that corn is the number one ingredient means that there's a lot of it in this, which means that it's not very digestible. But that's how it goes. I would still buy this mix again. I just wouldn't buy it very often. Well, I guess that's it. I mean, honestly, I'm really looking forward to eating this because it tastes delicious. And also, it has mushrooms on it, which is my favorite pizza topping. My husband thinks I'm crazy, but that's okay. We're all a little crazy on the inside. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. That's it. Ta-ta for now.